Hello everyone, it's Birdie here, the recycled hippie chick. Okay, let's play for a little bit. I don't know if this will be too close, but let's just give it a try. I want to do a 2-page spread, and I am trying to go off of my memory, which is funny in itself. I saw this lady last night, very late at night, doing a 2-page spread, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to try that. I love those colors. So let's just get started here. First, we got to find 2 pages, right? Oh, I haven't looked in here forever. What's this? This must have just been a card that I just liked. Aha. Well, no, I don't want this one because it's already got color on it, and I want to put the color on. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I was down the whole time, either in bed or on the chair. Yesterday I started feeling better. Okay, right here. Let's just start with this page. First, I want to put some underpants on here. Yesterday I started feeling good, and I got up and I did, I'm going to take this jacket off because I'm afraid I'm going to end up with paint on the sleeves. Still have my pajamas on. So I got the floors done yesterday. I vacuumed the floors and mopped them. And then I realized there was something behind. I have a chicken coop cupboard. This is kind of runny. I'm not real crazy about this. Not crazy about this. It's very runny. Let's see. Let's get out my new stuff and try it. Master's Touch Matte Gel. Let's give it a whirl. Anyway, I have this chicken coop cupboard that my dad helped my son make in high school 100,000 years ago. And the 2 front doors open like this, and they're made out of chicken wire so you can see through them, and all my dishes are in the cupboard behind it. I should just show you, is what I should do. At the end, I will show a little clip of my chicken coop cupboard. It's beside my coffee station. And when I got my coffee maker at Christmas, within the first couple days, I had knocked the lid off of the water port of the coffee maker, and it fell behind the chicken coop cupboard. So I have been without a lid to my water port on the coffee maker all this time. Well, I decided I wanted to sell it because I didn't like that type of coffee maker, and I was going to sell it on Marketplace, but I have to get the lid out first. So yesterday I decided, well, I'm going to pull this cupboard out and get that lid out so I can put that on Marketplace. Well, then I realized I can't pull this out. Terry was out in the shop piddling, and I went out there and said, I'm going to need you to help me move the cupboard out because I can't move it by myself to get my lid out. He said, okay, when I come in, I will do that. Well, I got impatient and said, I can do this. I can move this by myself if I empty the cupboard out. So I started emptying the cupboard out and then quickly realized how dusty and grungy everything was. And so I commenced to spring cleaning the darn thing as I cleaned it out. And then I'm thinking, well, I just don't use all of this stuff in here. I'm going to go through it and get rid of what I don't always use and just keep the stuff that I use regularly. Now, you know how that will happen. I will immediately start needing stuff that I've gotten rid of. But I did that. So I went through cleaning everything and deciding what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to get rid of and yada, yada, yada. And I did all that. Got everything unloaded out onto the counters. And then I started going downhill. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to sit and just rest a while. And then husband didn't end up coming in until almost 8 o'clock. So meanwhile, in my impatience, no, I did end up needing him. I got it started pulling out and realized I had screwed it to the coffee cupboard beside it is what I had done. So I got that unscrewed. Well, I needed Terry. It was such a tight fit in there that I really needed him to help me move it out. So I'm trying to remember how she had this. She had texture going down here. I think she had texture down both sides like that. Just underpants everywhere so that, you know, it just gives some texture. Because I'm going to be using some crackle paste again. I try this stuff all the time and it never really works for me, but I noticed it looked like she completely let it dry before she painted hers. So I'm going to try that with mine today. So anyway, he came in and finally helped me get the lid out. And then when the lid was out, there was dust and everything back there, which required me getting the vacuum out and vacuuming back there and mopping and all this good jazz. And then I got a message from Miss Moss, and she's like, don't put it up tonight. You're going to overdo yourself, and then you're going to be down tomorrow. Just leave it there till tomorrow, and you can put it all back up. I'm like, too late. By this time, I wish I would have listened to her because I didn't even think about just leaving it out and doing it today. It's just me and Terry here. I had already put everything back and had it all complete before I even served supper. So I feel okay though today. I'm doing fine. I was going to go back to bed because when I was roller skating, I fell when I took my granddaughter roller skating, and I fell and re-injured an old rotator cuff injury that I had had years before. And I don't have insurance this year, so I'm not going to go have it checked or anything. I'm just trying to take it easy, but it's making it really hard to rest at night. It just really is hard to find a comfortable spot. You know where my comfortable spot is with it? Sitting up. I feel fine when I'm sitting up. It's when I'm laying down that I have pressure on it somehow and it starts hurting. So this morning I was going to go back to bed after I got Terry off to work, and I really didn't even need to. I went out and did a little bit of weeding this morning after I fed all the animals, and I really feel pretty good. So no need to do that. Okay, I'm going to dry this, and then I'll be right back. I wish I could. Let's see, Smart View. How do I get on here? Okay, it's not completely dry, but I think it's okay just to start putting paint on. What she did was, let's see, did she start with the darker? I think she started with the darker color. She had two different colors of blue, like these kinds of blue. And I think she started with the darker one. I'm really liking my painty paper right now, and I don't really want to just put a blob on there. I really need to change it. I'm really liking it. Okay, so I'm going to open up this book, and I'm going to find a page in it and use it for my palette. Choose this one right here. Let me get a clip. Let me get a clip to hold this open. Okay. There we go. Now, set that over here. And I can put my paint on it. Okay, then I'll have another painty paper. Okay. Now, she started with the darker color. This is a copycat. I'm doing a copycat page. I don't remember what her name was. I don't subscribe to her, and I don't think she speaks English because the whole thing was music. It keeps saying my smart view is I have my phone viewing over onto my TV so I can see, make sure I'm in frame all the time. And it keeps saying it's unstable, and I can't catch it when it pops up to see it's popping off too quickly for me to. It says something about reconnecting that would maybe make it appear better. Anyway, I know it's been a while since I've been on here. I've taken a while from my bird incident, and trying to kind of decide what I want to do. I know it was nothing. It was just a bird incident, but it really affected me emotionally. And I had even contemplated about just stopping. Just don't do Smart View. It doesn't stay on there long enough for me to read it. I had contemplated not even doing any more videos. I thought, you know what? I just need to, because I share too much is what I do. And that maybe I should just stop doing videos and stop sharing. Because, you know, I don't know all of you guys, and I don't know if there's somebody dangerous out there. You know, I keep thinking of that. Okay, the connection is unstable. I'm going to try to read the bottom line next time, since I know what the top line says. Reconnecting may improve the quality. Okay. No, I don't care how the quality is, as long as I can just see. You know that I'm in line. I'm in frame is all I care about. Where was I at? I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, I kept thinking back to that guy in another state that the FBI showed he was rehabbing, and actually I think he was actually a licensed rehabber himself. And he had the squirrel named Peanut. and the FBI broke into his house, and his squirrel Peanut, he had rehabbed, and it just didn't want to leave. It had just decided it wanted to live there, and it was going to be his pet. The squirrel could leave if it wished. It just didn't choose to. And they came in his house and stole Peanut and euthanized it, put the squirrel to sleep, and then realized he also had a raccoon there. And I don't know what else. I think just a raccoon. And took it and had it put to sleep also. I just keep picturing something like that happening here, because I don't know who's going to turn me in or do what for, you know, caring for animals. And I thought maybe I just shouldn't do these videos. And then I thought, well, maybe I could do them and just not talk about anything personal, not talk about my animal antics, you know, what's going on with my turtles and squirrels. And just to let you know, I have nothing here that is not free. Everything here lives in the wild. It lives in freedom. I just happen to have a relationship with them, and they come to me. So, so I've contemplated that. I think what I'm going to do is just not talk about my animal part of my life. I think I'm just going to keep it to what's going on in, you know, with my art. Just talk about what I'm doing and not talk about things that are personal like that. I just need to not overshare is what I think I need to do. Now, if I can do that, well, we'll have success. If I can't, then I may have to stop. I'm not going to stop talking about my God, my relationship with God or Jesus. I'm not, because this is my platform to reach people who may not really ever get a chance to hear about the Lord, or this is my platform. I don't know that I should use a wipe 'em. This lady was using dry Kleenexes to kind of blend things. And I'm afraid if I use a wet wipe 'em, that I'm afraid it's not going to really blend. It's going to, and it's not really blending like she did. Maybe I should stop and go back and look at her video and rewatch it and then come back with fresh eyes. You know what? Just go for it. I'm just playing. If it doesn't turn out like hers, I'll try it again on another page. Anyway, I'm not going to stop talking about the Lord, and I'm not going to stop doing videos. I'll just stop talking about my animals and maybe personal things, because that's exactly what Satan would want me to do, is to stop talking about the Lord. And you know what? I'm not going to do it. So I think we'll just keep it at what we're doing, unless something is laid on my heart to tell you about God. But for the most part, I think we're just going to keep it at just talking about what we're doing. I do want to tell you that I did go online to the website they gave me and tried to get certified as an animal rehabber. And I do want you to know that it is easier in the state where I'm at. I'm not even going to say the state. It's easier in the state in which I live to be a foster. It's easier to be a foster parent for children than it is a rehabber for wild animals. I have to have 3 written letters of people saying that they know me and that I would be okay to take care of a injured, wounded, abandoned, whatever animal. I have to have my house inspected by the state, in which I have to have, I think, like 5 different sections at my home, either in my barn or a facility, a building outside, or rooms in my home. Number 1, I have to have a triage area set up for a wounded animal. And whatever animal I'm wanting to take care of, let's say I want to do squirrels, turtles, and a bird, let's say. Well, I have to have a triage with all 3 of those items. I have to have first aid kit for each one of those items. I have to have area for them to be able to be out without any domesticated animals in the presence. I have to have a feeding area set up for each one. I have to keep the food for them on hand all the time in case one shows up, then I have food for them. Like for turtles, I would have to keep worms on hand all the time. I have to keep baby formula for squirrels and birds. Like, if I was going to rehab the birds, I would have to have cat food on hand all the time. And, I just have to have things prepared, of course, which makes sense because, if something shows up, you want to have it ready for them. I have to spend 30 hours per animal. I guess like turtles would be reptilian or whatever. I have to have 30 hours of training, classes in that animal. I have to have 30 hours for the birds. I have to have 30 hours for the squirrels of classes. Then I have to have 100 hours each animal of volunteering at a rehab center with hands-on training so that I know what I'm doing. Okay? Are you hearing all this? This is like absolutely crazy. You don't even need all this to be a foster parent. I pay the money to have my license, and then I have to pay that amount every year after that for each one. Each animal is a different license. So I would have to have 3 that I have to pay for, and then I have to keep those paid up every year. And what else? I have to have a letter, and I have to have a relationship with a wildlife veterinary that I am on their list, so that if something happens, I get something and need it, I can call them and they're already familiar with me to come in and look at the animal before I start rehabbing it. And the veterinary has to write a letter saying I'm approved by him and that we have a relationship. Well, number 1, nobody's going to come in and inspect my home from the state. I'm not going to let anybody from the state in. So, I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. I don't understand what's going on. Okay, well, that's been like an hour later. That, crackle stuff takes forever to dry. And I even used my heat gun. So, the conclusion to my story was, well, I went back on and looked at the lady's video that I was watching last night, and I did this completely wrong, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. The moral of my story about the bird is, if I want to go to a pet store here in my city and buy a parrot from another country, or a monkey, or any kind of lizard, gecko, turtle, anything like that, I can do so with no licensing, with no knowledge of how to care for that animal, with no experience, and no one cares. And that is perfectly fine for me to do. But if I want to help a baby sparrow that was my fault and I messed up the nest accidentally, to give those babies even a chance at life, excuse me, I can get in big trouble for it. But hey, give me a monkey or a tortoise that lives 100 years and I'm good. But bring me a turtle that was hit crossing the road and needs a little bit of help, and I can get in trouble for it. That's what blows me away about this whole ordeal, is that I can get in trouble for just helping nature, but I can go purchase these other animals that come from other countries that aren't even native to this area. And that's completely fine. The responsibility for each one is just absolutely crazy to me. Anyway, I was supposed to be starting, let's see, where's my book? I was supposed to be starting with the light blue, and then I was supposed to go over it with the darker blue. And I don't know why, I'm just moving on over into my, but you know what? Each one of these is just adding a layer. So I think it'll look cool at the end. I'll be happy. And then I was supposed to just kind of shade over the top of that with my darker blue. And anyway, it's just adding beauty to my painty towel here that I will be able to use for a book cover later on. Wonder why that's not sticking right there. The way she did hers, and her name is what? I thought I wrote it down somewhere. Her name is Amber K Creative. And what she did was she started out with her underpants. Then she gessoed over all of it. Then she put crackle on it. Started with the light blue, went to the dark blue, and then on with her ochre color. So what I am going to do is kind of backtrack a little bit and see if I can't get back on her track. If not, we'll just add some layers to what we've got here. And see what we come up with. Go. Let's put a little bit of light over here and get caught up. I'm going to end up getting my Neil Diamond Coat painty. KK, got your Neil Diamond Coat on today. She went to Neil Diamond concert and brought me back a hoodie and a bag, like a denim duffel bag with Neil Diamond. I think it says Sweet Caroline on it. Or does it say Neil Diamond in my hoodie that I have on right now says Sweet Caroline? Anyway, I'm not sure. One of them says Sweet Caroline and the other one says Neil Diamond. There we go. Now that was there. Now what do we want to do? Now let's do just a little bit of dark again. And I'm making a, oh, I don't want to put it on that page. I'm making a painty paper over here to the side in my little book that I'm using as my palette. See, I'm wanting it to get in these, I'm wanting to get some magnification or whatever you want to call it to my underpants. She kind of made it dark and it kind of fanned out, but I'm not. I'm going to do my own thing because I can't remember exactly how she did hers. So I'm just going to do my own because you know what? Other people always do things that look brilliant, and then when I try them, they don't look anything like what they did. And when they're doing them in fast motion and then I go back and try it, I tend to try to do it in fast motion too. I just want to get, I want to see some of these edges of my underpants. I'm just playing. Just playing. Using some different colors that I don't usually use. Now, she used, I couldn't tell if it was gold or yellow ochre. So I'm just going to use King's Gold because I was too impatient to look for my yellow ochre. Anything that actually said yellow ochre. There. I just want to make sure we can see what we're doing here. There we go. That's a little better. And boy, that is runny. Runny. I am just finding that it's more enjoyable with my fingers. She kind of went all around the edges. Just kind of blended that in, but her yellow ochre was prettier than my King's Gold. But you know my motto, you got to work through the ugly. If you think it's ugly, keep going until you like it. Whoa, that was a little bit too much. I've got to go in and go to the chiropractor today. And I'll put some up here. what's kind of working out here is there's some yellow in this, and she used pink around hers, around the edges at the end, and I think I'm going to use this maroonish color instead of pink because it'll make this material that I have here look good, blend in more. I think she ended up with ochre all around, and then she just went around the edges with the pink. She went lightly in the center where the color was. Okay, let's see here. What else? I'm going to, well, this pink won't be bad. It'll match okay with that. So she took the pink and dabbled it with a smaller brush around the edge. So, and then she rubbed it with her fingers. So let's just try that. She was kind of using some glazing medium. And I'm going to just mix some of this runny matte medium in with my pink. And I'm thinking maybe it'll act as a glazing medium. I have some. I really do, but I don't know where it's at. So I'm going to do that just to help keep it a little fluid a little longer, so while I smear it and put it where I want it. And you can't even see what I'm doing. I need to figure out a different way to put my... Why is this up here? What is that? Oh, I'm seeing the bar. There we go. Let's try that. I want some of that to go in the cracks of the crackle, but the gel medium does help a little bit with the, you know, keeping it fluid a little longer while I smear it. Finger in some water. That didn't do very good. We're just playing. Remember, we're just being kids again. Just smearing paint until we like it. There's nothing here that there's no talent here at all. This is just playing like you were a child again. And that's the freedom I'm looking for. I don't want to adult. I want to just be free with what I do and have fun. I don't want to have to learn a new skill or a talent. I just want to play. That's pretty. I'm kind of catching those edges with that pink. I like it. I think I'm going to go down over some more of these. See if I can catch them. You know, the crackle paste is, I'm going to pitch it because it's just not worth it all that time. You have to wait for it to dry. And I really don't even hardly see the crackles now that I've had to wait all that time. Not worth it for me. Well, I'm not very good at keeping everybody in frame. I'm having fun going over these little cracks with my pink. Carol, I thought about calling you and inviting myself over for coffee. I wanted to visit with you about something, and you know, it would have to be done over coffee, a pot of coffee, right? And you know how I am. I usually show up and outstay my welcome. So I'm practicing on that. I will practice not staying quite so long. So holler at me when you have time to just sit and visit over coffee. I love solving the world's problems with Loretta. We both believe spiritually and politically together, so we can talk openly with each other about not worrying about, oh my gosh, we can't talk about politics, or oh, we can't talk about religion. You know, we can just openly speak our mind. Not many people you find you can do that. I'm supposed to be going to have coffee with a lady today that I absolutely have to bite my tongue and keep my thoughts to myself and just listen to her, because, you know, we don't have the same opinions. So there's a little bit of tension there, and I just lost a friend over that. Okay, I just lost a friend over religion and politics that I thought we were online, we were in one accord with, but she let me think we believed the same thing for like a year, and then all of a sudden it was, sorry, but I don't believe the same way you do. I'm breaking up with you. Goodbye. Like, oh, okay, well, we can't even agree to disagree. We just have to completely stop being friends. So yeah, I appreciate you, Carol. Ooh, that needs more. I made me an Earl Grey with a spot of cream in it. I put a spoonful of allulose sweetener in it, but man, I don't taste it. Okay, now, let me stop right here real quick and get my bubble wrap. Well, let me just go get my bubble wrap. I got a new bubble wrap in the mail. My old one, all the bubbles were about popped. So, do I have any other colors over here? What's this right here? Is this black or Payne's Gray? Okay, let's use that. Let's pull our palette back over. Look at that pretty painty paper we're coming up with. So let's put a little bit of Payne's Gray on there. And she used a stencil. I'm going to use, though that needs to be shaken up. She used a stencil. I'm using bubble wrap. Oh, yes. That is pretty. Now let's move over here to this side. I am just about out of Payne's Gray, so sounds like I'm going to have to be getting me another bottle. There we go. Now, what did we do? Let's dry it. Okay. I have completely forgotten what she did. So I'm just free-flowing now. I mean, I remembered she put some text on, but what she did was she took her text and used it with, she put a great big thing of text on there with embossing ink. And then she did white embossing powder down through her script. And I'm not going to mess with embossing. And I don't know. I think maybe she dribbled some ink on there too, and I don't remember that part. So I'm just doing my script stamp in ink, and I'm going to put a focal image on one side. You know what I'm feeling? I just keep getting drawn to that to make some circles. So just a minute. I would just like to do some circle making. So I guess because there's circles in that material. I watched Joey DeFee, her video on copywriting and stuff, and scared me to death. I know she didn't mean for it to. It's just my own brain getting carried away with me, but it's just so confusing about, you know, all the copyright, what you can and can't put in your stuff to sell and all that stuff. And I thought, what is anything? Like, what is just anything? Like, I don't know how to even say it. What if I use a calendar page? Is that page copyrighted? Is that picture on that calendar copyrighted? And uh-oh, I do not know what I'm going to do about that. There's a great big old glob. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's bothering me. What about the children's books? You know, we tear apart children's books, these golden books, and we use the covers for, you know, covers, and we sell those on our Etsy. And I've never put a golden book together, but I see them all the time. And they put those on Etsy, and it's got the pages in it and all that. Doesn't Disney have the copyright on that? And then they say, well, you have to watch your children's books. They have to be a certain age before you can use them legally or whatever. So you can't just use a normal kid's book and cut the images out and use those. It's just all very scary to me. And what about an image in a magazine? I mean, I know somebody said you can't use images out of Daphne's Diary or whatever. Why? Why even post why even put a magazine together if nobody can tear it apart and enjoy parts of that magazine that is going to be thrown away in the trash? Wouldn't you rather your images be thrown away in the trash when somebody's done reading that magazine? Or would you rather somebody make art out of them for them to be enjoyed by someone the rest of its life? To always have your picture floating around out there. You know, does that make sense? Otherwise, it's just going in the trash. People are just going to take that magazine when they're done looking at it, and it's set around for a while, and it's eventually just going to go in the trash. So I really don't understand all that. Some people put themed books together, like an Alice in Wonderland book, or, you know, I don't know. What do I want to say? A Dumbo book. I'm just over here playing in my wipe off. I got a big squish area up there, but that's okay. Anyway, it all just scared me. I have several books that I've been slow stitching covers on. You know, I just slow stitch covers because it's fun at night while we're watching TV, and I have busy hands, and so I just sit and slow stitch. And I thought, well, I'll tear some pages out of books here, there, and yonder and put them in there and see if maybe I can't peddle them on Etsy, because I don't really want them. I just like to slow stitch it. But now I'm scared to, because I don't want to get in trouble for having a page out of a kid's book that's not a certain age or whatever. It's just too many legalities make things not fun. Have to keep us scared around every corner. Okay, I'm going to go find what I want to use for pockets and tags and a focal image. Okay, I wanted to do a pocket, but I didn't find anything that I really wanted to use, and I like this mushroom, so that's what it's going to be. I found this picture of me when I used to drive a school bus. I need to figure out what the date is and put it on there in case my kids find it. Look at me wearing my goober hat. So I thought I would put that on there with a little slow stitched flower that I made. And I think just some book page. Well, let's just get our little book over here that we've been using for our palette, and maybe just tear out one of these pages. And let's put some of that behind it. Let's put some of that over here. And some of this over here. Not crazy about it, but it'll grow on me. I think I would like that better. Okay, let's glue her down. Let's glue this one over here first. Where's my glue? Let's get this one down. It's really handy to have these little clusters made and just sitting in a box so that when you need something, whoa, 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 whoa. We're forgetting the stem. So when you need something ready-made to stick on there, you've got it. Isn't that handy? Now, I want to glue this down. Trying to think if that was before I had children or after. I knew I was driving pregnant, so I'm pretty sure that was before. So I'm going to say that was 1983. So I'll have to find a piece of, maybe I should just leave this side and tuck a little note in. I'll glue this on like a pocket. Yeah, I'll just put glue on it like this. That way I can slide a little note in. Okay. Put my little flower up here, and I want it kind of hanging off the top like that. And then I want to use these markers. Where are they? For a trim that I never ever use. Let me find them. They're these Pitt Big Brush pen, and they leave just enough time. They give you just enough time to smear them a little bit. And I think she was using them when she did her page. You can't go very far You know, you just have to do little sections because they do set up pretty quick, but they give you just a little bit of working time to be able to smear it. And she was using them on her edges, and I thought, oh, I have some of those. And you know what? I've probably had these. These are probably one of the first art supplies I ever bought. And that's been probably 10 years ago. And they're still working, except for I don't use them. Yikes. Just enough to grunge it up a little bit. There we go. There's that page. I just feel like going around my page with Stabilo or something is like, you know, a mascara to a woman's makeup. It just finishes it off for me. Some people probably don't do it at all, and that's fine, because remember, there's no talent to this. This is just creativity, release. We're being a child again. We're just playing. And you do what feels good to you, because this is your creation. Okay. See, creativity takes courage. It takes courage to scribble again. Now, this is a little bright. I feel like it needs to be grunged up a little bit. What if I went over that with this marker? No, I'm not going to do it. But I am going to do something. I found these markers in the trash. What color could I use? Green. I could use the green. I found green, purple, blue, and orange in the trash. Somebody was throwing them away. And it's called Crazy Art Glitter Marker. I'm going to use that and go around these petals on my, and give it a little glitter pizzazz. I think these are made to kind of maybe push down to prime like paint markers. I'm not sure. This may not have been a very good idea, but I just thought it'd be cool to give a little definition around my little petals. This may take forever. I may have to do this off. Let's see if there's another green. This is not, maybe this one here's drying out. Did I have more than one green? That's a highlighter. Purple. Orange. Let's try the orange. Let's try the orange. That one glides a little easier than the green. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not meant to use these. Maybe there's a reason they were in the trash. Maybe sometimes people throw things away because they're really supposed to be thrown away. You reckon? I can't imagine. They looked brand new. Appearance can be deceiving. I mean, I've started. I have to finish now. There's stuff in there. If you could see the one she did and then see the one that I just made, it's crazy how different they are. Okay, because there's nothing. I just like took a total left turn and went down my own alley. Okay, now there we go. Let's zoom out just to see. Wrong way. There we go. It's just missing one thing. And I have just the thing right here. It is missing a tab. We could put a tab right here. There we go. Perfect. I knew that was on my desk for some reason, wasn't it? Trash is always treasure on a crafty person's desk. What's over here that I'm going to be covering up? Nothing, because I haven't done anything over there yet. So that's good. There we go. Okay, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me. What was I going to do? I was going to show you my chicken coop cupboard at the end of this video. Bye-bye from Birdie. There it is, my chicken coop cupboard. My coffee pot lid fell behind it, and I had to unload that, clean everything off, scrub the cupboard down, pull it out, vacuum behind, vacuum and mop behind that and this. Yeah, just another day in the hood. And it's mulberry season.